Shout out to Catch Pod.
A good defensive play for Montana State.
Touchdown, Tommy Malone is electrifying.
Welcome to the Cats Pod. What's up, Podcats? Here we are again. Week 1, round 1 of the FCS playoffs is in the books, and we are here to tell you we are very wrong in some situations. I think that's what we're here to tell you. Eric, how you feeling about that first weekend of playoffs?
It was pretty good. I mean, I guess I had my expectations were a little too high, I think, for the first round. I need to remember that these are all not great teams playing in the first round. Yeah. So there was a lot of sloppy football.
Oh, yeah.
But it was still really fun. A full day of football. I was tickled with it.
Yeah, and it gave you that little breather in the afternoon before the Grizz game started. So it was like you could watch football all morning, get a nice nap in you so that you're ready for that 8:15 kickoff with the Grizz game. So I thought the schedule of it was awesome. There was some really entertaining games. There was a lot of blowouts and not so entertaining games though as well.
Yeah, for sure. First up, Illinois State at SEMO.
I think people were like thinking this was going to be more of a matchup than it did turn out to be. I don't know. It
really started off pretty good, and then it was just, I don't know. It was pretty ugly, man. I mean, SEMO just, I don't know. They just kind of gave Illinois State every opportunity just to play a game of football.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of one of those deals. I mean, SEMO's quarterback had 85 pass attempts, Ben.
That's a lot of pass attempts. You don't have any kind of rushing game if that's how much you're passing the ball. That's absolutely insane.
It's asinine. You shouldn't throw the ball 85 times in a game. That's irresponsible.
No. You definitely should not. And also, they had 15 carries throughout the entire game. That is not balanced whatsoever.
I mean, I feel like Paxton DeLaurent is a really good quarterback at this point. To throw the ball that many times and only have 5 interceptions is, I think, that's actually pretty good, right?
I don't know. What is his interception percentage? What's 5 out of 85? That's what we need here. We got to figure out what his interception percentage is.
It's crazy how many times they threw the ball. So, I mean, I know we picked Illinois State in this game.
Yeah.
But I feel like SEMO just kind of gave it to him. If they would have run the ball at all, I feel like they could have maybe got this game from him. But
I don't know, because the final score was by no means a blowout. It was 35-27. But as I was watching this game, at least in the first half, I didn't watch any of the second half, which I think is why I don't know how any kind of comeback happened, because Illinois State was completely in control of the game and didn't give me much of a reason to watch it.
Yeah, it was a several score lead at halftime, and instead of playing smart football like we're used to watching, they just decided to come out and throw it every single time. I don't know.
It was kind of insane. I think everybody was mainly talking about SEMO's offense going into this, and definitely their quarterback had chucked the ball, had over 500 yards, threw a ton of passes, 4 touchdowns. But when you're getting that many opportunities, that stuff's going to happen. It's also crazy when you have 3 wide receivers that are all over 100 yards in a game. Yeah. Like that, you're throwing a lot of yards if you're in that situation. But it, like you said, it was a very sloppy game. A lot of sloppiness.
Yeah. So, Illinois State moves on. And who the heck do they play? Who do they play next week?
Illinois State? I don't know. I have to look up the bracket again. It gets so confusing because we only talk about these teams once a year.
Yeah. So Illinois State goes on to play UC Davis.
Yeah. And I think some people are looking to call this one a classic 5-12 upset if we were talking about March Madness terms. I really don't see that as the case. I was not super impressed with Illinois State in this game. They did play well through most of it, but that's just because they got 5 turnovers. That's not going to happen against UC Davis. They don't turn the ball over like that. You don't get 5 extra possessions when you play against UC Davis.
No. But yeah, so Illinois State gets that one. Next up on my list, we're jumping to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Rhode Island got Central Connecticut. And I don't know about you, Ben, but I feel like this was one of the easier draws in the tournament, and they just couldn't put them away.
Yeah, it was definitely an odd game to watch. Rhode Island has shown that they're like a quality program and everything. It is not a good look when you can't put away Central Connecticut State, who people were arguing whether or not they should even be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
When you're struggling with them a little bit and you win by 4 points, it is not inspiring a lot of confidence for the next round.
No, not really. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Rhode Island went out there and they won the game, and unlike the last game we talked about, played a relatively clean game, and but I just feel like their offense was just kind of ho hum. Yeah. So other than, I didn't watch too much of that game.
Yeah.
Just kind of flip to it every once in a while, but yeah.
That was kind of when the UT Martin New Hampshire game was going on, so I think that was where a lot of what we cared about was in that game. So it was tough to switch back and forth. It just kind of made me lose any confidence I previously had in Rhode Island. I mean, who are they facing next round? Take a look.
They're gonna get
Rhodey's got Mercer.
Yeah. So that's going to be tough, especially with Mercer's defense and everything. I'm pretty sure the quarterback that played for Rhode Island isn't the starter, I don't think, right? I think the starter's hurt. This is the backup.
I honestly have no idea. I just am not. They were getting a lot of hype, and the CAA just really, like in these playoffs in general, had a terrible week. Like a terrible weekend for any CAA team. And it just made it look like they may not get as many bids next year as they did this year.
Yeah. So, Rhode Island, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's their backup quarterback that played. And I don't smell good things going into the number 1 rated defense in the FCS.
Yeah, that's not very helpful for your situation.
I will say their running back did well, though. He had 220 yards on the ground, so there's a little bright spot.
Yeah, they're going to have some serious blocking going up against Mercer, though. That's going to be a different kind of animal when you're trying to rush on them. Yeah.
It's I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I expected more out of Rhode Island in this game.
Oh yeah, I think we both did.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Cats' future opponent. UT Martin at New Hampshire.
Yep.
And New Hampshire sucks.
That's the breakdown. New Hampshire sucks.
New Hampshire did not belong in the playoffs.
No, they
at
did
all.
Not. No.
They're a bottom dweller in the CAA from what I saw. I mean, they had 1 return touchdown, and other than 1 field goal, that is it.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything.
They really had a hard time with UT Martin's defense, and especially their defensive line looked very sturdy against New Hampshire. I think watching a game like this 41-10, we can basically call it a blowout.
Oh, yeah.
In this situation, it's almost good for the Cats and their mentality and the way they've been approaching games all year long, to where it makes you take UT Martin a little bit more seriously, It's not like it's another bye week. It's definitely a team that needs to be prepared for. And like I said before, UT Martin's defense looks pretty solid. Definitely nothing to look over.
Yeah. I saw a stat that they haven't allowed they don't give up very many rushing yards per game. And I have a hard time believing New Hampshire's any kind of eye test, because what I saw is a team that just didn't belong. they're not just. I mean, UT Martin is a playoff team, and New Hampshire is not a playoff team. That's just the simple fact of this game.
It's definitely what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, but also that being said, UT Martin didn't show us anything, in my opinion, to really spook you.
Yeah, it's not really a spooked. It's like, okay, I'm gonna straighten up in my chair, kind of.
Yeah,
it's that, like, okay, we gotta have proper posture. We're playing against an actual football team next week. They're not technically a slouch, but I definitely don't think they're in the same league. But at the same time, they do look solid on the defensive side.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, New Hampshire, another CAA team that terrible,
not good at all.
I mean, we thought Central Connecticut was the worst team in the playoffs. New Hampshire takes that cake, and it's not even close for me.
Yeah, it was not good whatsoever. There's no statistical category where New Hampshire even matched up a little bit. They tied in fumbles. 1 fumble, 0 lost. So they had that. That was about it.
Yeah, I do think if New Hampshire can run a kickback for a touchdown, what's Taco going to do?
Yeah, that's not going to look good for him. You know, not going to be spectacular. I mean, it's just like we have to find something to make this game kind of interesting, like a little bit of a point. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, we're waiting until the next round.
Yeah. UT Martin, they have. I mean, this is a tough draw for UT Martin. They coming to Montana. You know, I'm not sure what the weather looks like next weekend, but regardless, coming up to elevation, it's probably not going to be super nice out.
No,
it just seems like the odds are really stacked against these guys.
They definitely are, and I would not want to be one of those UT Martin players coming here.
No. Next, we got Lehigh upsetting Richmond.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. This is one of the ones we were very, very wrong on.
The Pioneer League looks better than the CAA.
Yeah, let's get the Pioneer League a couple more bids in this tournament, see what happens.
Yeah. This game, I didn't catch any of this game. How about you?
I didn't watch a single second of it. No, I was driving back.
Yeah. All I know is that Richmond. It looks like Richmond would really like to have that fourth quarterback.
Yeah.
I think there was some pretty poor clock management decisions in that one, and just some real missed opportunities for him.
Mm-hmm. If you just look at the team breakdown, I mean, rushing was pretty even, passing was pretty even. Offensively, they had a fairly even day. I don't really know where a win like this comes out of, because it just two really evenly matched teams, it looks like. And that is not what we expected it to be. Like on paper, after the game, this looks like two teams that were neck and neck, not the number 9 seed and an at-large pick, you know.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Lehigh, it was a total, like a multiple score comeback in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure they were both really long touchdowns.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, I think they really wish that they could have that game back and have a little bit, maybe do a do-over of the fourth quarter, possibly.
Yeah, that would probably be ideal for them. Looks like Lehigh, had 1 touchdown in the first half and ended up scoring 2 touchdowns in the second to gain their lead. So, second half team, watch out for Lehigh in the second half. Idaho. I mean, honestly, we can save that for a later date, but Lehigh, good to get a win in the playoffs. Basically, I feel like that's the takeaway.
Richmond was up 16-7 in the fourth quarter, and then back-to-back, one was a 65-yard run, and the second one was a 54-yard pass. So, yeah, 2 huge plays sunk Richmond in this one. So,
yeah. And that's all it takes in these games is just a couple of bad plays, and all of a sudden it flips it on its head. That's why you have upsets. That's why you have a lot of different things in the playoffs that you can't really explain.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's our one real big upset, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we had Eastern Kentucky at Villanova, and I picked Eastern Kentucky, and Eastern Kentucky probably should have won this game.
Yeah, they definitely should have. It was a terrible call at the end of this
Yeah.
game. I haven't met a single person that is calling that a good call, basically.
No,
Let's put it that way.
I agree. Yeah, so I'm not gonna hang my hat too hard on getting that one wrong, because I probably should have been right, and you should have been wrong.
Well, I'm gonna hang my hat on the fact that I won. Okay, that is one pick for me, one down for you. I mean, I'm about to start keeping score. I picked UT Martin right. We both picked Lehigh wrong. We both picked Illinois State right. I'm up.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
up.
You're up on a bad call, so congrats.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But yeah, without that call, Eastern Kentucky wins the game. But moral of the story is maybe your offense should put more points on the board if you want to win.
Yeah, you don't want to put it in the refs' hands in those situations. You got to put those games away.
Yeah, but once again, Villanova did not look that good, and they were getting spanked early.
Oh, yeah. They looked very bad early in this game. I watched the beginning of this game, and I stopped watching because Villanova looked so bad.
Yeah, I did too. I was the same way. They were, it just wasn't great football from Villanova, and Eastern Kentucky looked competent.
Yeah.
And credit to Villanova, they did make a comeback and put some points on the board, but yeah, they probably should have lost this game. Probably should have.
If there were football gods, they would have lost this game.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any football gods because there's way too many calls like this going on.
Yeah. Just another CAA team that just doesn't look like they belong. And this is against an unseeded team.
Mm-hmm. Once again,
what's it gonna look like next week?
Yeah. It is. Either the competition level is way more balanced than we thought, or there's going to be some major blowouts next week. That's the only thing that I can come up with.
Yeah, I mean, Villanova has to go to Incarnate Word, and if you think Incarnate Word isn't going to drop some serious points on these guys,
that is a high-powered offense. I would not want to be Villanova going into that situation.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just another kind of a lackluster game, really.
Mm-hmm. Not really exciting until the end. If you happen to catch the comeback, it was probably a little bit exciting, but I don't think a lot of people were still tuned in at that point.
Next up, we have Drake at Tarleton State.
Yeah, this was a weird one.
This was a weird one.
Yeah.
Drake just couldn't keep up.
No, they could not, and they shot out to a lead too. If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Like they were in the situation to win this game, but then all of a sudden Tarleton State came along and they started cooking and took a heavy lead quickly.
Yeah, I mean, at halftime it was 22-14 Tarleton, but at the end of the first quarter it was 14-3 Drake.
Yeah. They scored 18 points in that second quarter to take the lead going into half. So it was like scoring in bunches in that second quarter and then scoring pretty quickly again in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they have a huge lead. Yeah.
And I mean, Tarleton just really couldn't put these guys away either all through the game, because at the end of the third quarter it was 29-21.
Yep.
So it's not like Tarleton just pounded these guys into the dirt. They pounded them into the dirt, halfway through the fourth quarter is when it started getting a little out of hand.
And it's very similar game to the Grizz game that we'll talk about later on.
Yeah.
Where it was a much closer game than the end score really puts it out to be. This was a 14-point win for Tarleton State, but it really didn't feel like that for a majority of the game.
Yeah, it wasn't until I can't remember exactly how late in the fourth quarter, but it was, probably 5 minutes into the fourth quarter, I mean,
Yeah.
before Tarleton really, they scored again and really put it out of reach for Drake.
Get this. Okay, I've got the scoring summary up right now. So that final touchdown that Tarleton State scored was with 2 minutes and 26 seconds left in the quarter. That's how far into it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, I don't know. It's it really wasn't that, and it wasn't that impressive of a performance for Tarleton, which I'm kind of surprised about. I thought I know Drake can be frisky at times, but it's a pioneer school. Like North Dakota State beat them 63-3 last year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
You would have thought this was going to be more like a Kendrick Lamar beating Drake situation. Like
yes.
it's entirely dominated. Yeah, I was expecting the same thing.
If they can't put Drake away, I think USD's pretty well set.
Yeah. They will have a decent go of it. Oh, I don't think there's going to be much of a battle there.
No,
but we've been wrong before. Sorry, Lehigh.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Tarleton, good job. I don't know. You didn't inspire me a ton.
No.
So next up, maybe the most surprising score to us.
Yes. I think I know which one you're talking about.
Abilene Christian blanks Northern Arizona 24-0.
Yeah.
I remember making a case for Abilene Christian last week, and you scoffed at that.
Yes. Yeah, I can't win them all. I was very, very wrong about the Lumberjacks' chances against Abilene Christian. I was thinking way too much about one single game, and I have to remember that the transitory property of football does not exist. Just because one team plays poorly against another team does not mean it's going to affect the outcome of another game. Abilene Christian, I would like to take this moment to officially apologize to you. Congratulations on beating Northern Arizona.
Was it crazy to you how inept Northern Arizona's offense looked?
It was. It was not anything we've seen over the past few weeks. Their quarterback, when not injured, has looked very solid in a lot of different games. And especially with that win they had over Eastern Washington, I was thinking very highly of this team. And they proved me wrong. Maybe they weren't ready for that playoff spot again.
Yeah. I would like to take this time to formally apologize on behalf of the Big Sky coaches to Rohan Jones, because the newcomer of the year, the supposed good player that won the award, Ty Pennington, sucked.
Not a good game for him. Turns out didn't score any points. So
yeah, hence the reason why Rohan should have been newcomer of the year.
No, he would have had at least one touchdown in this game. He would have kicked a field goal. He would have ran a punt return back for a touchdown if Rohan was in this game. All I'm saying.
Yep. But yeah, Northern Arizona couldn't pass the ball. They for sure could not run the ball. I mean, their offense was awful. Let's see here. They had a total of 24 carries for 29 yards.
Wow. That's tough.
Terrible. The Ty Pennington, I know he threw an interception. Didn't throw for very many yards. Obviously, no touchdowns.
Yep.
It was just a pretty poor performance by Northern Arizona, and Abilene Christian gave them every opportunity in the book to do something. That quarterback was throwing interceptions left and right.
Yeah. It's one of those situations where it's a bad look for the Big Sky Conference, and we hate to see it. And Northern Arizona was a flawed team that was rallying. They were a team that showed a lot of flaws, and then they fought back, and they got a lot of respect from us, and will continue to get respect from us because they fought back and ended their season the way they did. The playoffs are just a different animal, and you got to be ready for them. And you can't be a New Hampshire. You can't be one of those type teams, you have to be ready to go right away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Abilene Christian, they just went out there and, did really good. I mean, they threw the ball effectively other than 3 interceptions. They ran for a lot of yards. Looks like over 230 yards. So, they went out there and they handled business. And, if they play like that next week, maybe North Dakota State only puts up 50 or something on it.
I know you're completely serious, but that is a very funny statement. They played a pretty good game, rushed for 220 yards last week. They may only get beat by 50 by North Dakota State.
Yeah. Thanks, Northern Arizona, for making the Big Sky look bad. Don't appreciate that.
Don't appreciate it at all.
No. Next up, a very interesting game. Tennessee State at Montana. This was, I don't know, man. I'm interested to hear your take since I wasn't with you when we watched it. Did you think, so, I mean, the final score is not indicative of this game at all.
No, it was a very exciting game.
Yeah.
If you like chaos football, this was the football game for you. Because there was chaotic plays happening left and right. It seemed like two teams that were battling over who gets to lose this game.
Yeah.
Because it was like a fumble here, a fumble there, some terrible penalty over here, terrible penalty over there. And it was chippy. There was so much trash talk going on in this game, and I was here for it. I was like, oh, that's the kind of stuff I love to watch. I don't want to see it so much from the team that I'm supporting. I don't want to see all that undisciplined stuff from the Cats, but if I'm just watching another game and I don't have a proverbial dog in the fight, like, I just want the trash talk. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, to me, this game has a very different outcome. If Tennessee State can snap the ball to their quarterback.
Oh, yeah. That was so bad.
And Junior Bergen is not a Grizzly.
This game was won by Junior Bergen.
Oh, yes.
I think we can be honest about that.
Yeah. And, I mean, those snaps over the quarterback's head, I mean, I think it happened twice, right?
Yeah.
And that last one there toward the end of the game, that was a backbreaker.
Oh, yeah. That ended it for him.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where, I mean, Montana just did not look very good. They weren't taking care of the football. Fife was a below average quarterback. Ayat didn't look that much better when he came out. I mean, they did start running the ball a little bit better when he came out.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know, man. I expected Montana to win pretty handily in this game, and like the final score does look like they did, but when that fumble where Gilman just basically handed it to that other guy at the goal line.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Mm-hmm. It was not good, and that was just the type of plays that were happening over and over. Was it Gilman or was it Fife that fumbled that ball at the goal line?
Well, Fife had one, but I thought it was Gilman that ran the ball and fumbled it into that other guy's arm. Fife had that one that guy picked up, and did he return it for a touchdown?
Oh, yep. That's what I'm thinking of. There was so many fumbles in this game, it was hard to keep track of them all.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Fife lost 2 fumbles.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. There we are.
Yeah, he had a pretty rough game, really.
Overall, the only 2 players that you can be proud of or excited about in this game, if you're a Grizz fan, are Junior Bergen and Eli Gilman. And Eli Gilman still turned it over,
I mean, Eli Gilman did look kind of like his former self in this game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the other thing about this whole game is that Tennessee State's kickers were terrible.
All special teams was terrible.
I mean, they couldn't actually kick the ball, and they also definitely couldn't punt the ball. I mean, if you're going to punt it to Junior Bergen, it better be a decent punt.
Yep.
But they just kept on punting it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, did you not study Junior Bergen before you came up here? The guy who single-handedly won 3 playoff games for the Grizzlies last year?
And this is now the 4th playoff game that he's single-handedly won.
Yes.
You know, it's insane. Playoff Junior is a thing to be feared.
Yeah.
I don't want to be playing against Junior Bergen in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, and it is impressive, and I really do think we'll see him returning kicks in the NFL at some point. I mean, it's insane how good his balance is after contact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can get drilled, and if you don't wrap that guy up,
he's still on his feet.
He'll just do like a little pirouette and stay on his feet somehow. I don't even understand how it really happens, but I mean, his balance is impeccable.
It is impressive. And the first punt return for a touchdown wasn't super impressive. Made a couple guys miss, found a seam down the sideline, and then was just way faster than everybody. Awesome play. But the second punt return, it was like he was playing Madden and he was just having fun with his opponents. It was like scoop over here, swoop over there, and just like probably ran 78 yards to get 40 yards or whatever that punt went because their punts were so short.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, Tennessee State has to be kicking themselves on that one. I mean, they had a horrible time with the crowd wasn't even that big, and it still threw them off.
The crowd was tiny. They were like half capacity. Like, it was a 50% crowd. I don't think the crowd noise had anything to do with it. I think that Tennessee State was not quite ready for this type of game. Yeah, nothing against their coaching, nothing against the players. It's just when you're a developing program in this situation, it takes some time to be ready for games like this, especially going into a place like Wagriz. But I think it was just jitters.
Yeah, and I will say I do think Tennessee State beats any other team in the playoffs, or like in the this first round.
It could be. That is a good argument to make. They are a quality football team. I think they beat Lehigh. Illinois State would be a good matchup.
Yeah.
Tarleton, I think they could beat Tarleton.
Yeah.
They beat Villanova for sure. Good game with Rhodey. They beat Abilene Christian because I got to double down. But, still, Tennessee State. Eddie George, you're doing good things with the program. Like, you're building something quickly.
Tennessee State's quarterback looked really good, I thought. Mm-hmm. His statistics don't look good because he had to cover those balls that went way over his head back there. So he lost. It says he had negative 39 yards of rushing.
Yes.
So,
and that was pretty much all from those 2 plays.
Yeah. So, no, I think that he is really quality. I do actually think the elevation affected these guys. That defense was tired.
Did you also see how overweight some of those defensive linemen were?
They were some big boys.
They were tubby. Okay, they had not been in shape, especially not elevation shape. You are right.
Yeah. No, they were. They had hands on hips. They were. But credit to them. They really did a decent job against what can be a somewhat explosive Grizz offense. But this game made me realize just how much Montana underutilizes Junior Bergen.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal is. Like, yeah.
You should be doing anything in your power to get the ball in that guy's hands in any circumstance. The return game aside, he has such a keen ability to run with the ball in his hand. They should be feeding this guy.
Yeah.
Feeding him. But anyway, I wasn't impressed with Montana here. Not at all.
I agree. They could utilize Junior, it seems like, in a lot of different ways that they choose not to. I just look at the way that the Cats treat Ty McCullough. Yeah. Like where you're bringing him in on jet sweeps and you're finding different ways to get him involved in the game plan, even if the passes aren't happening there. You got to scheme that dude open somehow. But I don't know.
Yeah, get the ball in his hands, let him do the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did think it was super classy. Eddie George was super classy after the game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good things to say about the Grizz program specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Saw a report, not sure if it's 100% true, but said that he's looking forward to watching Bergen in the NFL in the coming years. So that was kind of cool. But
we are as well, honestly, even though he's a Grizz.
Yeah. Montana gets the lovely trip of going to Brookings, South Dakota, though.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun this time of year, I feel like.
No, I don't think Montana is going to have a very good time at SDSU.
I don't like I said last week, I don't, and just today, I don't want to be playing against the Grizz in the playoffs. Because they win games in stupid ways where you don't think that they have any chance of winning a game whatsoever. And they just find a way to do it somehow.
Yeah.
Who knows? Junior Bergen might have 3 punt returns for touchdowns in this game. And all of a sudden, it's like a 1-score game against South Dakota State. It could happen. Like we haven't seen any evidence against it. Like nobody has shut down Junior Bergen in the playoffs in the last 365 days.
True, but it's South Dakota State.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, you got to make these arguments that are like, but they're playing against. You're right.
I just have to make sound logical arguments.
Oh, come on. That's not what they're here for. Nobody wants to listen to that.
Yeah.
They wanted me to make up some BS so that they think that this is an actual entertaining game to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this was a very entertaining game to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Tennessee State was going to get them, though.
Oh, I really did. I really did. Yeah.
I thought for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the recap. We didn't do so good on our picks. I mean, we did okay, but I guess that's how it goes in the first round.
Okay, let's do the math real quick. One, two. I only picked 2 games wrong. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you picked Tennessee State.
Oh, I picked 3 teams wrong. You're right. Yep. I picked Lehigh wrong, Abilene Christian wrong, and Tennessee State. I picked that one wrong. So, I mean, overall, that's above 500. So that's some pretty good picks right there, if you ask me.
Yeah. Either way, it was a fun Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Great day to watch some football.
Yeah. Next round, I have a feeling there could be quite a few blowouts.
Yeah, it's not looking solid for any of these teams that are trying to make an effort in this next round.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing the next round doesn't go complete chalk all the way around.
Do you have any games that you would point out as maybe an upset?
I mean, just I'm looking at it right now, and I mean, I firmly believe South Dakota State blows out the Grizzlies. I firmly believe Incarnate Word blows out Eastern Kentucky. I firmly believe Mercer beats Rhode Island. I don't know if that. I have to believe that's probably going to be a blowout. I don't know. That'd be my pick there. Probably Mercer. Just because I don't know. Mercer's offense has been shaky at times. I know they have a great defense, but their offense has been the issue.
Yeah.
North Dakota State, I don't see them having an issue. USD, no. UC Davis, very, very unlikely. Idaho, I really doubt it.
Yeah.
And Montana State, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to make a prediction right now, all the seeded teams move on.
Yeah,
or the top 8 seeds move on.
it's boring, but it's probably going to be the truth. The only one that I kind of have been eyeballing is that Rhode Island Mercer game.
Yeah,
I feel like there is a good opportunity just because if you look back through Rhode Island's schedule, they play every single game close no matter what.
yeah,
Like they could be up by 21 points, but it's going to be close at the end of the game. So they just play weird games like that, and they win weird games like that. So I could see them doing that against Mercer. Other than that, I know a lot of people are talking about Illinois State versus UC Davis, but I just don't see it. I really don't see it. I know that Illinois State is a quality team, but UC Davis just you got to land the man out there. I don't think that they're going to lose a first-round game.
No, UC Davis has bona fide stars on that team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have, I forget his name, that linebacker with the long hair on defense. They have Land Larison. They have Miles Hastings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if there was a better, if it wasn't Lehigh playing Idaho, I might pick that one, but
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I if I had to make a bet right now, I'd bet every single one of the top 8 goes on.
Yeah. It'd probably be a pretty safe bet. Might as well parlay those all together, see what happens this weekend.
That's actually a really good idea.
It is a pretty good idea. I might have to do that.
I might too.
Parlaying this entire round, taking all the favorites, see how much that adds up to.
Yeah, it'll probably be like, well, for sure the Bobcats, North Dakota State, probably SDSU. I would assume South Dakota and maybe even UC Davis are all going to be minus 1,000 or more.
I bet you can't even get a money line on half of these games.
Yeah.
That's how big of a blowout they're going to be. Like I just don't see them putting any kind of line on that.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely not going to be any plus matchups here.
No, definitely not. Not the way we're betting. No. We're betting all favorites all day.
Yeah.
It's the most boring game, the most boring betting strategy for the most boring podcast. All the favorites are going to win. Why are we even watching these games?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to clip that from one of these schools and then send it back to me. No, nobody cares about this. Like, what am I talking about? It would be really funny if I would feel so accomplished if somebody clipped me being an idiot and saying something like that and then sent it back to me like they used it as fuel.
Yeah, no shit.
That would be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny.
No kidding. But yeah, there it is.
That's it. That's week 1 of the FCS playoffs. Round 1, week 1, whatever you're supposed to call it.
Yeah.
There was... I wish it wasn't leading up to something this boring when it comes to the second round, but, it's all just going to be blowouts, like you said. Until they play these games and we look like idiots next week, too.
I mean, I hope, aside from Montana State, I hope there are a bunch of upsets. That'd be cool.
Yeah. It would be a lot of fun. There could be some chaos in this bracket that we're not seeing, but as far as the FCS has looked and the rankings have looked all year long, when you get outside of like the top 5, honestly, outside of the top 8, it looks like entirely different leagues.
It does,
this season. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, there really isn't any sleepers this year. Mm-hmm. The first round matchups didn't really leave. There wasn't a whole lot of excitement going forward with a lot of those teams. Yeah. Yeah, that's really all I got on it. I mean, I just expect everything to go chalk from next weekend.
That's about it. That is about it. Do we want to give our listeners a little announcement for later this week, or should we not jinx it?
I don't know. You make that call.
Okay, we will leave them on a cliffhanger. There may or may not be something happening this Wednesday. Make sure you tune in before this game against UT Martin in the second round of the playoffs because we may have something very special for you. But we don't like to jinx it, so we don't want to announce it ahead of time.
Yeah. 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 No, Wednesday looks like a good episode, so keep your eyes peeled.
Looks like a solid one. Might want to make sure you hit that follow button if you haven't hit that follow button yet. You'll want this podcast right away. I can tell you right now. You're going to want it right away. All righty. You got anything else you want to bring up before we kick it off?
I guess the only other thing is Weber State and Northern Colorado are getting gutted to the transfer portal.
Oh, has it already begun?
Oh yeah, Weber State lost. They lost their running back and probably their best defensive player already.
Oh no.
They lost several other guys. Northern Colorado's punter, that first team All Big Sky punter.
They lost their punter?
Yeah.
Oh no.
They lost quite a few guys. I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched enough of them to really know any names.
Mm-hmm.
But that I can't even remember which was it. I can't remember which team, but Cash Cheeks. Remember him?
I don't. I thought I would have remembered a name like that.
Yeah, I can't remember who.
That seems like a made up name. Did you get caught?
No, look it up. Cash Cheeks.
There's no way that. Oh, he does. Yep, he does exist. Sorry, Mr. Cash, Mr. Cheeks.
Which team is he on?
He's a Northern Colorado tight end.
Okay. Yeah. So he hit the portal. I remember him from some game we watched. He did something cool, but yeah, he hit the portal. But yeah, Weber State, Northern Colorado kind of they kind of took it to the shorts already in the transfer portal.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen to those teams. It's sad to say, but 'tis what it is. It's modern football. Yeah. You gotta show results, or else players are going to leave. And good on them, because there's no reason that players should have to dwell in some dungeon just because they signed a scholarship with somebody if they have opportunities elsewhere.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, that's really the only other thing I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Make sure you follow this, rate us 5 stars wherever you are listening to this at. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram and X at CatsPod. Check us out on YouTube at The CatsPod. And we will catch you guys on Wednesday for what we're hoping is a very special edition of this show. Thank you guys.
Adios.